At the end of 2021, Sri Lanka's total public and publicly guaranteed debt was $35.8 billion. Over the last few years, Colombo walked into what experts say was China's debt trap diplomacy. Out of the total debt, lending by China accounted for $7.1 billion, or 20%. The lending from China stood at 1% in 2001. In May this year, the island nation defaulted on its foreign debt for the first time. Prices were at an all-time high. Foreign reserves at an all-time low. The economy had been at its worst since Lankan independence. To the rest of the world, Sri Lanka became a cautionary tale of misgovernance and misfortune. One of the major players in Sri Lanka's calamity, apart from its own government, is China. Between 2000 and 2020, China extended close to $12 billion in loans to the Sri Lankan government, largely for major infrastructure projects that turned into white elephants. From the Hambantota port, which in 2017 was handed over to a Chinese firm on a 99-year lease after it could not pay off the debt, to the Rajapaksa airport, built with a $200 million loan from China, and to the Colombo Port City project. China has had major Belt and Road Initiative investments in Sri Lanka. Crisis hit Sri Lanka has reached out to China to restructure its debt, but Beijing has been stalling such requests despite other lenders like India and Japan being ready for talks. In Jaffna, a university has refused to sign a memorandum of understanding with Chinese Agricultural University. Students of the university are appealing to their government to not sign any agriculture-related agreement with China. They say it is against the will of the people. They argue it's an attempt by China to take over Sri Lankan agricultural lands, while the people of Sri Lanka have learnt their lessons from China's debt trap. Those in power seem to be ignorant. Sri Lankan Foreign Minister Muhammad Ali Sabri said, when Sri Lanka went to China in search of funds, China was respectful and never forced Lanka to take any money. He added that China provided Sri Lanka with financial facilities and a credit line, and that debt trap was a Western phrase. It comes as no surprise that China welcomed Sri Lankan minister's rebuttal of the so-called Western narrative. There's another policy that the dragon is known for. It is the salami slicing strategy. What it essentially means is small stealth military operations against neighboring countries which accumulate over time in a large territorial gain. Most of China's neighbors are victims of this strategy. India has also witnessed and is countering this at the line of actual control. China's activities and its plans in Jaffna concern New Delhi. Why? Jaffna is about 1,400 kilometers from the Indian coast. If China takes control of Jaffna through its so-called agricultural projects, it'll be in close proximity to India's southern coast, something that New Delhi may not stand for. For more on this story, our correspondent Dasuni Athaura sent us this report.
China's involvement in Sri Lanka is largely seen in two opposing viewpoints. One of it being Sri Lanka's lawmakers, most so recently Sri Lanka's Foreign Minister Ali Sabri noting that Sri Lanka is not indeed trapped by a debt burden of Sri Lanka, while the public at large, and more specifically as of recent, the students of Jaffna have voiced their concern, noting that China is indeed trying to encroach in the north and northeastern parts of the country for viable agricultural projects, while also sounding the alarm on the recent history of agricultural projects with Sri Lanka, which have turned out to be quite controversial and costly for the cash-strapped island nation. Reporting for WION World is one from Colombo, I'm Dasumi Athaura.